Merry Trekmas and welcome to day 9. You may have seen a pretty sweet looking ship in the thumbnail, and that would be this one, the Tier 5 Zendi Narcine Dreadnought Cruiser. It's a pretty great ship, but you can't have one. Unless you already have one, in which case you can definitely have one, or you could buy one on the exchange. There are a few on there, but they cost nearly 1 billion energy credits each, and at that point you may as well get a tier 6 starship, so I wouldn't really say that it's worth it. You could try your luck by opening lock boxes, but there's one little small problem with that. You see, I had the idea for this video after a comment someone left on one of my recent videos, one of the gambling ones, where they pointed out that in all of my endless rambling about lockbox odds for winning a starship, I never mentioned that I was talking about the chances to win a tier 6 starship. Because if you didn't know, if you open infinity lockboxes, there is a different kind of ship you can win. In addition to the tier 6 choice box you can get, there's also a tier 5 box that you can get. People don't really talk about that too much, and that's mostly because it's been completely neutered. It used to have all kinds of amazing tier 5 lockbox ships in it that were still really good. They were quite affordable, and they were nice for newer players or people on a budget to get something that would be nice enough in the end game, at least for normal and advanced content, and frankly, they do just fine on Elite as well. Tier 5 ships are never going to have specialization seating, but if you upgrade them to Tier 5U, they do get an extra console slot to bring them in line with Tier 6, and most importantly, they get extra hull capacity, because it used to be that ships only had a fixed amount of hull, and that amount of hull was supposed to be relative to where you were in the game. So just as an example, the Tier 5 Narcine only has 40,500 hull, but the upgraded Tier 5U version has 72,900, which is quite the upgrade, and that's because it scales with your level, so that even if they increase the level cap in the future, any scaling starship, a Tier 5U, a Tier 6, will get extra hull to bring it up in line with whatever level your captain is at. Whereas a pure Tier 5 starship will never get that extra hull, and since it's not double but nearly double, that has a huge impact on your survival. If you're a new player or a new character who's just hit endgame, you really need a Tier 5U or a Tier 6 starship, or you're just going to blow up all the time. And here's one of the neat things about those old Tier 5 lockbox ships. Because they were premium starships in their day, and they didn't want to offend their gamblers and the players who were spending the big money on those ships, the Tier 5U upgrade is complimentary. It's free. You just get it. It's just a built-in feature of the ship. Whereas if you have a Tier 5 starship from, let's say, the C-Store, you had to go out and buy an extra item from the C-Store in order to upgrade it. And if you're not trying to put a bunch of money into the game, you may not want to do that. Or if you are going to put money in the game, you may as well just buy one of these newfangledy Tier 6 starships. Said no one in the last 5 years, because that was a long time ago, but that's not the point. The point is that these old Tier 5 lockbox ships used to be an affordable option for newer players to get something that would hold up at endgame for a reasonable price. I paid about 80 million EC for mine. Now, where did I get the idea? Well, a fellow YouTuber named Snipey47A, who used to make Star Trek Online content, put out a video, a pretty good video, where he made it sound like this.
But the Tier 5 Narcine is still a very much relevant ship even today, with its strong base stats, highly maneuverable for its size, excellent BOF layout, and 2 hangar bays with awesome frigate pets.
Yeah, pretty convincing stuff. It worked on me. I watched that video when it came out, and since I wasn't the YouTube sensation I am today, I was still just a regular plebe trying to make it. I went out, looked on the exchange, saw that it was something that was reasonably within my ability to get the energy credits for. I bought it, and I've been happy with it ever since. Sadly, though, players today don't really have that option. There are only a handful of these old ships that are even still in the Tier 5 choice box. Why is that? Well, when Cryptic decided to do Tier 6 refreshes of those ships, where the Narcine turned into the Boisterous, then the old ships were removed. So there's only one way to get a Narcine, and that's to open the original Zindi Amphibious lockbox. But where are you going to find one of those? Every time they would release a new lockbox in the past, the old one would just kind of disappear. You couldn't get it anymore. Now, people did hoard them out, and it used to be the case that just playing the game would cause them to drop all the time. They were like a plague. A lot of people just were even made complaints about it online about how their inventory was being clogged with them when they had no intention of opening them. If you look on the exchange today, in addition to the 3 extremely overpriced Narcines, you'll see that there's about 500 of those boxes for sale. I've squirreled away 20. In fact, I have some of every lockbox they've ever released in my account bank. Why? Well, I thought I might need it at some point since I do YouTube videos. I just wanted to make sure I had them available to me in case I ever needed them for some reason. Because you can transfer your character over to the test server as many times as you want, essentially making it a legal item duplication glitch. You can copy keys, you can copy lockboxes, and it cost me hundreds of millions of energy credits to buy all those old lockboxes off the exchange, but I do have them, and we are going to look at that in a minute. I'm going to open a brand new Narcine over on the Tribble test server, so stick around for that. Okay, let's go ahead and try to open this ship. I have 140 boxes copied over. That doesn't give us a great chance. It's still about 1 in 3. If I have to copy more over, we will, but let's go ahead and go here. And hopefully we will get the ship. I don't have the inventory space for this, unfortunately. Come on. Okay, and we did end up winning the ship in about 100 boxes, so it is still possible for more of these ships to be created on the live server, but how likely is that really? If people have lockbox keys, they're not going to open these old Zindi lockboxes, and even if they wanted to, there's just a limited supply of these boxes left out in the wild. There's just only so many of them. There is a very real limit on how many more of these ships can exist, and even if someone were to open a bunch of these boxes, they're not going to sell it for a reasonable price that a newer player would be able to afford. So it really is just part of the tragedy. These old ships used to exist and they were really great for newer players, and now they don't exist anymore, and it's just an unfortunate part of the game. So hopefully if Deca is willing to think about different ways of changing things up differently from what Cryptic has done, or if Cryptic is, they may still be running the game for a little while here longer. His suggestion I would make is to bring these back. Put these Tier 5 ships back in the Tier 5 ship choice box.